help you to understand the need. In Carroll County, that's where we are now, right? In Carroll County right now, there are 123 children in custody, and there are 11 foster homes. You do the math. In Hurt County, there are 10 children in custody and 2 foster homes. In Spalding, 87 children in custody, 22 foster homes. In Troup County, 63 children and 13 foster homes. We need more foster parents. We do. We need more people who are ready to say, I can do this for a little while. I may not be ready to adopt another child. I may be past the point where I want to handle a toddler, or I may be past the point where I want to handle a teenager. Let's face it, they take a lot of energy. But we need people to step up to the plate. And if I were speaking to a group that was just a church group, I would say, we need people of faith. People who will raise these children the way they raise their own children, even if it's just for a short period of time. We need them to step up and say, this is important, and here's what I can do. One of the things that I was privileged to be able to do was to begin an organization that started out under a different name, but it ended up being called Faith Bridge, where some of the churches in the Atlanta area decided that they would take on foster parent training within the church, and they would recruit foster parents within their church congregation. One of the most successful churches who did that was a huge church up in Cherokee County, Woodstock, and some of you may have heard of Woodstock Baptist Church. Huge church, thousands and thousands of members. Sonny and I actually went there while we were in Atlanta because it was one place we could go. We didn't have people lining up to shake the governor's hand in church, for goodness sake. It's not what you want to do when you're in church. But that huge church trained 70 foster families from within the congregation. Do you know what that did to that county's welfare and defect system? It revolutionized it. It changed it forever. And my thought was, if every church, or if a lot of churches, would just decide that this was an issue that was important enough to them, that they would begin to enable people, encourage people, support foster parents, then our problem in Georgia would be solved. We would be solved. We wouldn't have these children having to go out of county, some of them, and change their school so that we can find a place for them to stay. We wouldn't have defects workers who were so overloaded with casework that they couldn't see straight, who were working until all hours of the night, going and picking up children in the middle of the night. We wouldn't have some of those problems if this became an issue that was so important to people like you and me, everyday, ordinary people. People who probably never thought about being a foster parent before. I never thought about being a foster parent before we fostered. I didn't know a thing about it. I knew I had to get my fingerprints done 3 times, thank you very much. They could never get it clear. Now they don't use all that ink though, so it's a lot easier. Remember this when you think about fostering and foster parents and foster children. They are right around you. They are everywhere where you are. They might be in your neighborhood, but they are certainly in your community. And see what you can do to help. There are a lot of ways to get involved. You don't have to be a foster parent, as I said, but you can partner with a foster parent. You can support foster parents. You can find out what's going on at the group home that happens to be near you, or maybe it's not near you, maybe it's across town, but you can find out what those children are doing and what do they need. You can plan a birthday party for foster kids, supply Christmas gifts, school supplies, all kinds of things parents need because, as I said, the stipend from the state does not cover everything that those children need. There's no way that it can. And any of you who have been parents, you know that raising kids can be expensive. It can. You can also become a CASA volunteer. How many of you have heard of CASA? Do we have any CASA here? Good, thank you. A CASA stands for Court-Appointed Special Advocate. The CASA volunteer generally will connect with a child in foster care early on after they have been brought into the system. And that CASA sometimes is the most stable person in that child's life while they're in foster care. What the CASA does is to represent the interests of the child in a court proceeding. I cannot imagine being 7, 8, 10 years old and sitting in a courtroom and hearing all these pompous adults talk about what is going to happen to me. I cannot imagine sitting and listening to that and not having any opportunity to tell anyone what I want. Having no one to listen to me about what I want as a child. No one to hear my side of the story. But many times that is what happens. Our CASA volunteers keep that from happening. They will discuss the details with the judge so that that judge knows as much as possible about the situation that that child is in. The CASA volunteer will follow that child all the way through until they are back with their family, released from foster care. Most of the time, that CASA volunteer is the one person who stays with them throughout, because sometimes even their caseworkers change. That is a wonderful way to become involved and to make a difference. I wish we had a CASA volunteer for every child in foster care in Georgia, but we are far from that. Far from that, and we need them. We need you. One of the things I always share when I speak is, I'll probably cry, but that's okay, is the first little infant that came into our home. You know, it's such an exciting time. You set up the crib, and you buy the baby clothes, and you might buy the formula and the bottles, and, you know, all the little things that a baby needs, the diapers and the wipes, all those things. And you get ready and you wait. You wait, because you don't know when you may get the call that says, we have a baby for you, can you take it? Well, that's what happened to us. I've been waiting, and like I said, it took me 3 times of getting my fingerprints done. It took us about 6 months before I got the call. But when they called, they said, we have a baby taken this afternoon. And I said, yes, I'll take it this afternoon. I was so thrilled. So I went, met the caseworker at the hospital, picked up a little 2-day-old, a little boy, so cute, and took him home. As I said, our youngest was then a junior in high school. Now our youngest, if all of you can picture Sonny Perdue in your mind for a moment, our youngest looks a lot like Sonny Perdue, but he's about 6'4" and quite a large man. He gets that from Sonny's daddy. And his name is Dan. So that afternoon, as Dan came home from school, he pulled in the driveway, began walking up the front steps, and I met him on the steps with this little baby in my hands. And I said, Dan, look what we got. He dropped his book bag. He said, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And he took that baby from me. He walked in our house, pushed back in the recliner, and the two of them would sound asleep. With that little baby on his chest, I will never forget that. Never. Yesterday I got a text from our daughter who lives in Marietta with a picture, and she said, "Mom, we just got our first foster baby. Beautiful little girl with black hair." Now she has a 6-year-old, 8-year-old, and a 10-year-old. And the 6-year-old's name is Samuel. And Sonny texted her and said, "What does Samuel think of his little sister?" Knowing that this will be most likely a very short-term stay for this little baby. And she sent a picture of little Samuel with his head on top of the infant baby's, they're calling her Stephanie, on top of little Stephanie's head. And Laura, my daughter, said, "He just asked if we could keep her." I want you to know that fostering did more for our family than we ever did for those babies. Fostering taught our grown children at that point how to give back in a way that I don't know how else we could have taught them that. Fostering taught them the importance of being part of the greater community around you, of paying attention to what's happening in people's homes that might not be in your neighborhood. They might not look like you. They might not look dressed like you. They might not have the money you have, the family you have. But fostering these babies taught our children things that they would never have learned otherwise, in any other way. I will never, never regret that decision. And I can guarantee you that if you talk to foster parents around you, the vast majority of them would say the same thing. The lessons we learn when we give are far greater than anything that we learn when we receive. So I want to challenge each of you. I don't know who your circles are. I don't know where you all came from. But I know this, wherever you are, there's a need. And my challenge today is find out what the need is and see what you can do to help. And if you're already helping, if you're a caseworker, I met one earlier, then thank you for what you do. You make a huge difference in the lives of so many children and families, and you don't get told thank you very often. It is a tough, tough job, a difficult job. So thank you, caseworkers, defects workers, people involved already. Thank you for what you're doing. And for those of you who aren't involved, think you might get involved, I hope you do. You will never regret it. It will be one of the most wonderful experiences of your life. So I'm going to leave you with that. Thank you.
Well, I think they got the ball rolling. What we're going to do now, if you're following along in your schedule, we have a break until 10:15. Here's what we want to encourage you to do. Go out the back door, take a right. You walk down to the fellowship hall, and set up in the fellowship hall are our support people. And if you look on the back of your program, we have a list of those. And it is a broad range. We have DFACs that's here so they can start talking about and have that conversation with you about what you need to do to start the process and get involved. We have a couple of professional counselors that are here. One of the things that we've run into in foster care is some of our kids just need somebody to talk to that we can't take care of those needs, but we're blessed in our community to have some care providers. So you can go and meet them and talk to them. We also just have some really cool providers that do some things outside of that. One of them is Camp to Belong. Laura Hamilton, who's our intern here at the University of West Georgia, has served as a counselor for that camp and their camp. targets siblings that are separated in foster care, so in summer camp they can come together and spend some time together at camp. We also have just a couple of support. The Carroll County Foster Parent Association supports us. And then we also have some private agencies that handle foster care adoption. You may want to talk to them. And then we've also got Charter Bank is here. Letitia, did they make it today?
Yes.
Charter Bank has come alongside the Foster Parent Association and given some funding to us as well. So they're out there. And we also have Tyson Advance. They can answer some of the questions you may have about the adoption process. How much does an adoption cost? And what do I have to do? So from now until 10:15, we'll encourage you to mix and mingle. All these folks in the golden shirts, ask them questions, talk to them, and see if you have any maybe questions about their experiences. And then we'll also encourage you to come back at 10:15 because Steve and Melissa Beam are going to come share their personal story. This is a Carroll County foster family, so you can hear from them. So we'll be back in here at 10:15. Feel free to go visit our vendors. If you need the restrooms, go out same hall, like you're going to the fellowship hall on your right, have the restrooms. And we'll convene back in here at 10:15 to hear from Steve and Melissa. Thank you very much.
So I've come up with the family emergency plan.
Great. What is it?
It's difficult to talk about, so I'm not telling you.
How will we know what to do?
You won't.
I'm so glad I won't have to remember anything.
And me too. Thanks for this, sweetie.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Visit ready.gov/kids for tips and information.
Ballerina.
Sometimes all it takes to be a dad is remembering how to be a kid again. Take time to be a dad today.
I've got a job to do today.
I've got a job to do today.
Have a good first day at work, Mom.
Your donations to Goodwill fund job training programs right in your community.
Feels good to start fresh, right?
Sure does.
And like that, you're a job creator.
But in this room are a lot of my heroes, and a lot of them are wearing these yellow shirts. Mr. Perdue's already spoken about that, and I will affirm it. The investment that you guys have made in our community and the lives of our children. There's a little meme that we've put up on the Facebook page over the course of the last few weeks. The reality is I cannot change the world, but I can change the world of one. And that is a huge statement when you think about foster care and the investment that you made in the lives of one child, and the couple that's going to come and share about their experience in foster care have had more than one in their home. They've had over 40, and so I'm going to ask Steve and Melissa Beam if they will come and share their experiences in foster care. Y'all come ahead.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you very much for the opportunity to come and kind of share our story. Before we get started, we just have a short, humorous little video we want to share with you guys to kind of set the tone for the topic that we'll talk about. And then after that video is over, Melissa will share her perspective and I'll share mine.
So my sister's brother's aunt works at Baskin-Robbins with someone whose friend's grandparent had a foster kid, and he burned the house down. So just be really careful. Sleep with one eye open.
Yeah, I took care of the dog once. Totally know what you're going through.
You're so amazing. I could never do that. I would just get too attached. I've always wanted to be a foster parent, but I just have such a big heart for children that I can't.
I've been dangerous. What a cute kid. Are you the nanny?
You're a foster parent? That's awesome. You're an angel.
So is this a different one you had last time?
So what are they mixed with?
So how much do they cost?
Is this a different kid or the same one as last?
So what's your real mom's story? Are you gonna keep it?
This will be great practice for when you have your own kids.
How do you guard your heart?
Guard your heart.
You really need to guard your heart.
You should really guard your heart.
So is this the same kid that you had before?
So are they real sisters?
Don't you get attached?
Don't you get attached? Don't you get attached?
I would get way too attached. I couldn't do that. I could never do that.
I could never do that.
I could never do that.
Is her mom Hispanic?
What did the real mom do? Is this that same one or is it a different guy? So is that like a crack baby?
Is that a crack baby?
Is it a drug baby? So is it a drug baby?
Is it a drug baby?
Do you still have that one kid?
How much do they cost? Is that expensive?
Oh, so this is like practice for when you have a real kid.
So she's adopted now, right?
So he's adopted now, right?
She's adopted, right?
Have you adopted yet?
What, you adopted yet?
How much money do you make?
Do you still have that one kid? She's still not adopted?
She's still not adopted?
He's still not adopted?
Well, at least he didn't have him very long. You'll get another one.
You'll get another one.
Fostering is a really good practice now that you're having a real kid.
So do you have to like buy them clothes and stuff?
So do you get to pick them?
She must look like her father.
True enough, this is truly a representation of, and the foster parents are all laughing because we know it's true. This is everything people say to you in 60 seconds. So Justin asked us to speak, and his main goal for us to speak was on letting go. Because people say all the time to us, we just get too attached. We couldn't do that, we would get too attached. So I'm going to speak a little on that, and about how attachment happens. Samuel, if you'll pull the next slide. My son Samuel is running the sound, so I'll just address him like mom. So, get that. But if you don't, it's fine. It just says it's locked, so don't worry. The first concern, letting go. I could never let go. I could never let him go, is what we hear all the time. And the reality is, you will let them go because they'll come take them. But the truth is that that's our job, is to get attached to them. It's our duty to teach them to bond with us. It's our goal to have them attached to us. We wouldn't want to do this if we didn't do that. We want to attach them. If we're vulnerable to them, if we go to them and we love them, then they learn how to love. And even though it hurts, and it does, I'm going to tell you the story, it hurts when you let them go, but that's our job. And we have the skills and the emotional to be able to deal with that part. You know, we're grown up. We know that loss happens and that healing comes, but for them, if they don't learn that from us, then when will they learn that? So that's our goal. Oh, look, there it is. So you have to be vulnerable to this. We've had several children, as Justin has alluded to, and one of our very dearest children came to us as a newborn, and he was precious, and we loved him. And about 5 or 6 months into his stay with us, they said, you know, this baby's going to go for adoption. And so at that point, as a foster parent, you sort of have to decide, is this something I'm called for to adopt this baby, or is this baby just mine for now, and I'm just loving it for now? We prayed about it, and we really felt like this wasn't our baby. This was our baby to love for now. We didn't get into foster care to adopt. That was never our goal. We had, at the time when we started foster care, we had 5. Later we had 6, surprise. And so it wasn't a goal to build a family. We just wanted to love children. And I've always had a heart for it. Poor Stephen has just been drug along through the whole journey, but he comes along really with me. But so we signed the papers to say that we didn't want to be considered. And the wait began for a placement, the wait began for a match. And he was matched to a local family here. In this picture you can see it's faded, but my little daughter Ellie was 10 weeks old. Maybe back to where we were. My daughter Ellie was 10 weeks old when this little baby came to live with us. And he was very much a part of our lives. And as the batch came and we began to know the family, it was the right family, we knew it, and they began to visit, the visits came, they were going wonderfully, and the day came that it was time to say goodbye. And at this point, he was 16 months old, and I'd had him his whole life, and he was our baby, as much as he was their baby, really probably more theirs by now. So the visits would come and go, and we were all fine with that. You know, he's coming back, or we'll be fine. Well, the day came where it was the last visit, where when we decided we would take him. So we took him to their house, and we were aware that it was going to be something that was going to be really hard. So we planned to go out of town. We thought, we'll just go up to Helen, we'll tube. We wanted to go home. So I have it together, we all say our goodbyes at home because we think we're just going to drive down there. I'll go in, I'll get him settled, and it'll be a real sweet experience, and it'll be fun. Well, the reality is, when I got down there, we decided I was just going to get out of the car, and I took him out of the car and had his stuff, and I went to the door with him. And as I get close, I realized I can't talk. The tears come, and I just take him to his mother, and she opens the door, and I just say, I'll call you later. And I just left. And we cried most of the way to Helen, the family did. And then as the Lord would work it out, we began to see this family in the most random places the first year that we've never seen them before or since. I think I saw them more the first year than I've seen them the whole time I've known them. And for the first several times I saw this sweet baby boy, I cried like I did not have any sense. Every time. And so we became a joke at our house that every time we're going to see him, we're going to cry about it. And I did. But it was such a beautiful experience, and it brought us some very dear and wonderful friends that are lifetime friends, because we share this connection of this little boy. And I'm sure his father will want to tell you more about it later. But he's proved that you can love them, and you can feel that hurt, and you can still go on, because we have more work to do. If they leave us, we have more work to do. And it's not the old, you'll get another one. That's not it. We have more to do. So another concern with that, after loving these kids, it would devastate me thinking back to their parents. Their parents lost them. Did something wrong. It would just devastate me. But the reality is a lot of these parents love these children. Maybe they didn't have an environment that encouraged parenting skills. Maybe they were just parenting the way they were parented. And sometimes it's just education. One incident, we had a little girl that had a baby in foster care. And she grew up out of foster care, signed herself out, got a job, got a house, got her baby back, loves this baby. This baby's now a thriving first grader at Carrollton Elementary School. And a beautiful, beautiful little girl. And a wonderful mom story. And we have lots of stories like that. So although the pain is seriously there, there's joy to know that you made a difference for that time. You kept that child safe and intact and emotionally strong during this hard time, so that when they returned, they were the most intact child you could hand back. And it's a joy to know that you shared in that with them. Children are never, they're never just the story of when you're in your house. They have a story before they get to you. They have a story after they leave, and you want to be the good part of that story. So that's another attachment. Now, the other thing people worry about is my kids. What about my kids? My kids are going to get attached to this kid, and this kid's going to leave, and my kids are going to be scarred. We're going to end up, on a couch somewhere because we had foster kids and they left. But in reality, that's not true, at least not yet, at the Beam House. We have children, biological children, that range in age from 20 to 4. And as I'm watching my older children become adults, the compassion that they have for other people and the love that they have is significant. And I attributed a lot to that, to them watching these children come and being a part of something that was way bigger than what was going on in their life right now, and moving on to love the next one and the next one and the next one. And we model that, not always beautifully, but we model that for them, and we want them to come alongside of us, and they do. Mary told the stories of this. You're my good friend. I posted the other day, our little foster daughter, she was having her hair done at our house, and while she's having her hair done, my 18-year-old son, who's 6'2", is laying in the floor in front of her, and she's pretending to do his hair. And it's just a beautiful picture in my mind of what we have and what we hope to